The history is never really complete. While the archive is really powerful, it's a partial part of the story. Using imagination critically, I think, is one of the most powerful tools that people have, and it's my most powerful tool that I have in my toolbox. Hi, my name is Blu. I'm a lecturer at Central St. Martin's. I'm currently doing my PhD at UCL, and I am also an artist. So my practice sort of sits at the intersection of, I would say, like moving image, memory, and speculative storytelling. I'm really inspired by Saidiya Hartman's critical fabulation and sort of like this limit to the archive and the counter archive, and how archival footage is both a resource and a limit, and how it can resonate really emotionally and visually. I have known about the Collective Makers and the National Maritime Museum from working on a different project that they had here, and I saw that they were looking for somebody to kind of like contribute to the Ocean Residency, which was celebrating the ocean court map. There was just an opportunity to sort of like help tell a story there, and I thought, why not?
The artist residency that we have done with Collective Makers and the Maritime Museum is all about bringing artists into the space and to respond to various themes, various objects, and various opportunities that there is within the museum. And the idea is to bring more of that narrative into the space. And the most important thing is that for the artists to find a way of developing their practice, and for us as the Collective Makers to also be part of that.
We guided Blu through a lot, liaising with different people, kind of built her confidence, talking about how to sustain her practice on a long-term basis, which is a challenge for a lot of artists today.
So the performance is based off of this archive of this ship called The Triumph of Righteousness, and it was an account in this book called Sons of Sinbad that Alan Villers had documented. This ship and the musical crew, this sort of like Afro-Arabic, Afro-Arabian narrative that was running through all of his written work and his visual work. There was a musical crew on board, and I was really interested in like what that might sound like, more about them. They were really like smiling into the camera, and I just felt this like connection with them. And so I wanted to tell that story through, again, like this speculation. I have made a film using the archive and employing like some liquid light show techniques with it. I'm interested in like different ways to exchange knowledge with the archive and how to bring like a fresh new perspective and to be immersive and sensorial. It's been really fantastic to have that time and that space to dedicate to a particular archive. The Maritime has such a rich history of maritime world that I never knew anything about. It's a real privilege, but it's also like I take it as a serious responsibility, especially with my sort of practice in this speculative world, is sort of like reimagining sort of like the silences in between the archive. The residency, it's not about taking my practice in a different direction, but it's kind of like reaffirming that I'm on the right path, and that it sort of like grounded me a bit more in like what I'm doing. And I know I love what I'm doing, but to see other people respond to it, I feel like that has sort of brought me in the direction of engaging even more critically with archive work.